ISO, aperture, shutter speed, basics of exposure. These are the three critical components of photography that play a vital role in determining the overall quality of your image. Let's begin with ISO, which is a camera setting that brightens or darkens your image. The aperture, on the other hand, controls the amount of light entering the camera. It also influences the depth of field, which is the range in your photo that appears sharp. Finally, we have the shutter speed. It controls the duration of the exposure, meaning the amount of time that the sensor is exposed to light. Mastering these settings can lead you to capture stunning images. Now let's move to EV, WB, and DOF. EV, or exposure value, is a number that represents a combination of a camera's shutter speed and F number. It provides a measurement of the brightness at a particular location. WB, or white balance, is the process of removing unrealistic color casts so that objects that appear white in person are rendered white in your photo. DOF, or depth of field, as explained earlier, is the distance between the nearest and the farthest objects that are in acceptably sharp focus in an image. The depth of field is determined by the camera's aperture, the lens's focal length, and the distance from the lens to the subject. EV, WB, DOF, understanding exposure value, white balance, and depth of field. There are a few causes for blur in your photography. One key reason is motion. Motion blur can occur when either the subject of your image is moving or the camera itself is not stable. It's a common issue. It's experienced when the shutter of your camera is open for a long period and some movement happens. Even a slight breeze can cause your camera to shake. Another critical cause of blur is focus issues. In our fast-paced world, we sometimes rush and forget to double-check our focus settings. Sometimes the camera's autofocus isn't accurate enough. It's always essential to ensure that the camera focus is correctly set on your subject. Now, let's move on to some solutions. The first step to drastically reducing blur is to adopt stable shooting techniques. It's an essential part of any photographer's arsenal. This could be as simple as making sure your camera is on a stable surface or using a tripod. Furthermore, it's important to make sure your focus settings are correct. It's an easy thing to overlook, but could make or break a photo. Understanding how the focus settings of your camera work can help you capture sharp and crisp images that draw the eye and tell a story. So remember, to avoid a blurry outcome, ensure stable shooting techniques and correct focus settings. What is lens flare? It's a fascinating question that has intrigued many photography enthusiasts and professionals alike. Lens flare, in its most fundamental form, is a phenomenon in photography wherein light is scattered or flared in a lens system, which is often the result of extreme light sources, such as the sun or any artificial light source. It is important to understand its impact. Lens flare can add a dramatic effect to your photograph, or if not handled properly, can ruin your perfect shot with unnecessary light spots. Then moving on to our next topic, using flare creatively. You might wonder, how can something that potentially ruins a shot be used creatively? Well, when used with precision, flare can add a distinct artistic touch to your shots. A well-handled flare can give a dreamy, vintage, or cinematic feel to your work. Here are a few tips for creating artistic flair in your shots. Firstly, always remember to adjust your angle according to the light source. Secondly, experiment with different types of lens to see the varied effects. Remember, practice makes perfect. Differences, exploring file formats. This portion of our video ventures deep into the realm of digital spaces, specifically focusing on file formats. The world of digital media is diverse and vast, with a myriad of different file formats serving unique purposes. Some are designed for high-quality images, others are fine-tuned for optimal compression. There are formats that prioritize maintaining the best possible resolution, while others focus on being easily shared and downloaded. Each file format has its own strengths and weaknesses, and understanding these differences can greatly improve one's ability to work efficiently and effectively in the digital landscape. Moving on, we will be examining the question of when exactly to utilize each file format. The goal here is to give you the knowledge to be able to make an informed decision in any given scenario, ensuring that you manage to maximize both the image quality and the storage space available to you. When to use each. Maximizing image quality and storage. What is focus peaking? This is a fundamental query that many budding photographers grapple with. Simply put, it's a tool that significantly enhances manual focusing. But what does that mean? Well, imagine that you're setting up for a shot and unsure if your subject is in perfect focus. With focus peaking, your camera highlights the areas in your frame that are in sharp focus, making it easier for you to see and adjust accordingly. Now, moving on to its practical applications. It's not just a fancy tool, but it has significant use in various shooting scenarios. Whether you're capturing fast-moving subjects, shooting in low light, or working with macro photography, focus peaking can be a game changer. It can improve the overall sharpness and depth of your photos, essentially lifting the final outcome to a higher standard. Using it effectively can turn an average shot into a masterpiece. Practical applications. Using it effectively in various shooting scenarios. Understanding natural light, its impact on photography. Let's dive into what natural light is. It is the sunlight that we see every day. This source of illumination is crucial to photographers as it determines the mood, texture, color, and tone of the photographs. Each hour of the day, whether it's dawn, midday, dusk, or twilight, presents a unique quality of light. Natural light can be harsh or soft, warm or cool, and understanding how to manipulate these elements is a critical skill for any budding photographer. Now, let's explore the influence of weather conditions. Weather, in its various manifestations, offers an array of opportunities for photographers. Rain can provide a dramatic backdrop, snow can create a serene environment, and fog can add a mysterious atmosphere. A clear sunny day can offer vibrant colors, while an overcast sky can provide diffused light, reducing shadows and contrasts. Understanding weather conditions and learning to use them to your advantage can significantly enhance your photography skills. Weather conditions. Using them to your advantage. Time of day. Finding the perfect light. This is more than just a phrase. It is an art, an understanding deeply embedded in the heart of every photographer. It's about the quest for that perfect blend of natural light, that magical moment when the sun graces the earth in such a way that it illuminates everything beautifully. A golden hour, twilight, dawn, or dusk, each presents its unique palette, each demands its unique approach. Then comes the tips for portraits, another crucial aspect. Capturing personality and environment is an art form in itself, a delicate balance of portraying one's true nuances, while also depicting the surroundings that forge their story. Every wrinkle, every smile, every backdrop tells a tale of its own, and capturing it requires a keen eye and a patient heart. Each snapshot is a freeze frame of life that encapsulates the essence of the subject and their environment, perfectly preserving the timeless moments in the ever-flowing river of time. This journey of exploration and discovery, from finding the perfect light to capturing personality and environment, is what makes photography an adventure. It's about the connection with the world around us and the stories that unfold in that scenery. It's about the emotions, the feelings, and the impressions that we as photographers seek to immortalize, defining golden hour when sunlight is at its warmest. Known to photographers and cinematographers worldwide, this magical yet fleeting moment occurs just after sunrise and just before sunset. It's a time when the sky takes on an enchanting, warm glow, painting the world in shades of gold, pink, and red. This is due to the sun's position in relation to the earth, which causes the sunlight to pass through a greater amount of the atmosphere, scattering the shorter blue and green wavelengths and allowing the longer, warmer wavelengths to reach the surface. Now let's talk about capturing the magic. There are several techniques one can employ to capture stunning photos during this golden hour. One could explore different angles, play with shadows, work with reflections, or even use it as a beautiful backlighting. Working with the golden hour requires patience, creativity, and a good understanding of the way light works. It's all about waiting for that perfect moment when the sunlight hits just right to capture a breathtaking photo that seems to glow from within. And remember, the golden hour isn't just about light. It's about the fusion of light, landscape, and the creative vision of the photographer that brings a truly stunning photo to life. Capturing the magic, techniques for stunning photos. Blue hour defined. A distinctive photographic opportunity unlike any other. Considered as a golden period for photographers, the blue hour refers to the time of day when the sun is just below the horizon. It's not strictly an hour, rather a brief period during twilight, both morning and evening. During this time, the sky adopts an enchanting deep blue hue, providing a magical backdrop for photographers. It's almost mystical. Delving into the art of blue hour photography, it requires a mix of technical knowledge and aesthetic understanding. This includes knowing your equipment well, understanding light and exposure, and having a keen eye for composition. Also, you need to ensure that you're at the right place at the right time, because the blue hour is fleeting. The purpose of mastering this art, achieving breathtaking shots, the ethereal beauty of the blue hour can transform ordinary scenes into extraordinary photographs, making your work stand out in the crowd. So gear up for your next photography adventure, and remember, patience and preparation are key when it comes to blue hour photography. Tips for blue hour photography: achieving breathtaking shots, understanding DOF, controlling focus in your images. This technique is a concept that has been used by professionals and hobbyists alike in photography. It's an essential tool in capturing stunning and captivating images. The concept of depth of field, or DOF, is all about using the focus in a way that enhances the quality and the beauty of your photos. It's about manipulating the sharpness of the foreground and background of your image to achieve the desired effect. DOF can be shallow or deep. Shallow DOF means a small part of the scene is in focus, usually the subject, while the rest of the image is out of focus. On the other hand, deep DOF means the entire scene is in focus. It's important to know when to use the different types of DOF, and this comes with practice and understanding of the concept. Moreover, DOF is not just about controlling focus, but it's also about enhancing the mood or the narrative of the image. The way you apply DOF can create a sense of depth, distance, and even a specific emotion. Whether it's a portrait, a landscape, or a complex scene, the creative use of DOF can make your image stand out. Now let's move to the next part. Creative use: how to use DOF for artistic effect. The usage of DOF can add dynamism to your images. It can emphasize a certain element in your scene or de-emphasize others. Your choice of DOF can tell a story, evoke a feeling, or create an impact. It's an artistic tool that can take your photography to another level. How autofocus works: breaking down the technology. This is an incredibly versatile tool that has revolutionized the world of photography. With its advent, it became possible to capture crystal clear images, even for amateur photographers. The technology behind it is fascinating, as it uses a sensor, a control system, and a motor to achieve the perfect focus. The sensor measures the clarity of the image, sending this data to the control system. The control system then adjusts the motor, which modifies the lens position to maximize image clarity. Moving to another key element: autofocus modes and uses. Choosing the right one for your subject. It's crucial to understand which mode is suitable for different scenarios. Whether you're shooting a still life or a fast-moving object, the right autofocus mode can make all the difference. Today, we will explore the various autofocus modes, their unique features, and practical applications. So let's dive into the fascinating world of autofocus. What is bokeh? It is a term that has taken the photography world by storm. Bokeh, pronounced as bokeh, originates from a Japanese word which stands for blur or haze. It is essentially an aesthetic quality of blur, out of focus parts in an image. This eye-catching effect adds depth and beauty to the photograph, making the subject stand out against a softly blurred background. Now, how to achieve this stunning effect? There are several factors that influence the creation of bokeh. It's not just about blurring the background, but also about creating a pleasing aesthetic. The kind of lens you use plays a crucial role. High-quality lenses with wide apertures often produce better bokeh. Other factors include distance from the subject and the type of background, achieving bokeh, lens choices and techniques. Sensor size myths, debunking misconceptions. Today we're going to embark on a journey to dispel some common myths about sensor size. It's a critical component in photography, but it's often misunderstood. Many beginners mistakenly believe that a larger sensor can automatically offer superior image quality. However, this isn't always the case. Other factors like lens quality, shooting technique, and post-processing also play significant roles. Next, we approach the subject of achieving shallow depth of field, DOF. Regardless of the sensor size you're using, it's entirely possible to achieve stunning results. We will offer practical tips to maximize your potential. Achieving shallow DOF. Tips regardless of sensor size. Understanding the rule, a classic approach to exposure. This rule, steeped in the annals of photographic history, provides a foundation upon which all successful photography is built. Exposure is not just a technical concept, it's an artistic tool, a beacon guiding photographers through the maze of light and shadows, colors and tones. This rule is a guide to help photographers determine the correct amount of light needed to capture an image, a scene, or a moment in just the right way. It is a guide that helps photographers to understand when they need more light, less light, or maybe a different quality of light. It helps in taking decisions about shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, the magic trio of exposure settings that allows us to capture life in all its beautiful complexity. From the darkened silhouette of a sunset to the bright cheerfulness of a spring morning, the correct exposure can make the difference between a forgettable snapshot and an unforgettable photograph. Practical application. Using it in your photography. Embracing this rule means being open to experimentation, to playfulness, and to the constant learning curve that is photography. The rule of exposure is not just to be memorized, it's to be understood, to be felt, to be lived. And when the rule is truly understood, it will become an inseparable part of your photographic journey, enabling you to tell your stories in the most visually captivating way. Why black and white? The timeless appeal. Black and white has a timeless allure that is tough to ignore. It's nostalgic yet modern, simple yet complex, stark yet soothing. This contradiction creates a compelling aesthetic, and that's what draws us towards it. It takes us back to the early days of photography, reminding us of the pioneers who first visualized the world without color. Yet at the same time, it is incredibly contemporary. Many high-end fashion shoots, artistic portraits, and street photography retain the black and white style to date. However, creating striking black and white images is not as straightforward as it seems. It requires a keen understanding of light, contrast, and composition. Without the crutch of color, these elements become even more critical. It's all about spotting the potential in a scene and then using these tools to bring that potential to life. Tips for beginners: creating striking monochrome images. What are they? A tool for reviewing and organizing, a lifeboat in a sea of data, a beacon of structure in a world of chaos. Contact sheets, as they are commonly known, stand tall in the domain of information management. They are the ultimate tools that enable you to create an organized universe from a mess of data. Imagine a room filled with scattered notes, each carrying a separate piece of information. Frustrating, isn't it? This is where the contact sheets come to your aid, providing the much-needed structure and system. They are the magic carpets that can transport you from a battlefield strewn with unorganized data to a serene garden of sorted information. Creating a contact sheet may appear as a daunting task, but it's simpler than it seems. All it requires is a decent understanding of the information you're trying to organize, a dash of creativity, and a sprinkle of patience. The result is a neat, comprehensible sheet that makes information retrieval a cakewalk. Making one. Basic steps in creating a contact sheet. Cease feeling overwhelmed by the idea. Begin with gathering the necessary data, segment it into different categories, and begin sorting. The next step is laying out the information in a way that's intuitive and easy to access. Remember, the goal is to create a system that reduces clutter and enhances clarity. Conclude by reviewing your work, ensuring that all data is accurately represented. Understanding aspect ratios. Their importance in composition. This is a critical aspect in the world of photography and film that is often overlooked. Aspect ratios play a vital role in determining the overall feel of an image. The selected ratio can dramatically impact the viewer's perception, either enhancing or diminishing the subject's significance. It's an art, a subtle balance of choosing the right ratio that fits the mood and message of the composition. Whether it's a wide panoramic landscape or a tightly framed portrait, the aspect ratio can make or break the shot. The higher the ratio, the wider the shot, the lower the ratio, the more square the image. In photography, it's not just about capturing a moment, but crafting it. Therefore, figuring out how to use aspect ratios effectively is essential skill. Choosing the right ratio for different photographic styles. This is the key to creating stunning, impactful images that will leave a lasting impression. Photography is an endless journey of discovery and creativity. It is a pursuit that transcends boundaries and time, allowing us to capture moments of beauty and truth in a way that words could never fully encompass. It's an adventure that unfolds one frame at a time, inviting you to delve into the heart of the world around you. Armed with your trusty camera, every day presents a new opportunity to evolve your skills and broaden your understanding of this remarkable art form. From the delicate morning light filtering through the leaves in a forest to the vibrant cityscapes that come alive under the night sky, the world is your canvas. Each photograph is a story waiting to be told, a memory etched in time. With the power of your lens, you can freeze a moment in time, capturing emotions and nuances that are often overlooked in the rush of daily life. The importance of understanding your equipment, knowing how to manipulate light and shadows, and mastering the art of composition cannot be overstated. These fundamentals are the building blocks of every great photograph. No matter where your journey takes you, whether you are a seasoned professional or a novice just getting started, these foundational elements will guide you in your quest to create compelling, eye-catching images. The beauty of photography is its inherent freedom. It allows for self-expression and individual interpretation, enabling you to convey your unique perspective and narrate your own story. This creative liberty, combined with technical mastery, is what makes photography such an enchanting pursuit. With these fundamentals, you're now equipped to explore the world through your lens with confidence and artistry. So no matter where you find yourself, remember to look beyond the obvious and discover the extraordinary in the mundane. And in the spirit of this captivating art form, remember to enjoy the process as much as the final outcome. Happy shooting!